Welcome back. So Friday, September the 15th was described as a big day for Nigeria agriculture and a major milestone in STanbic IBTC Bank's efforts to encourage and incentivize commercial banks to lend more to the sector. Let's bring in STanbic IBTC into the conversation with the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Demola Shogunle. Rationale here. Thank you very much. This is an executive time. But if you have 50 billion on the street, I'm sure you follow the money wherever. And that's why you're here. Sure. So, the Managing Director of NIRSAL just said it takes a lot of confidence for your board of directors to approve 50 billion naira. That's about half of Nigeria's agriculture budget. I'm sure that takes a lot of heart. So talk to us. How did you convince your board to part with 50 billion into agriculture alone?
Let me just quickly, thank you, boss. Let me just quickly make one clarification. I mean, the whole outlay, being 50 billion, what we've done is to first of all start, with 10 billion. Yes. Right. And that 10 billion was based on our own assessment of what NIRSAL stands for. NIRSAL is a partnership, between the public and the private sector. It's an initiative, a policy tool put in place by Central Bank. And when we went through, right, the pedigree, the commitment, the vision, the mission of NIRSAL, we believe that this is an entity that can help in terms of de-risking lending into the agri sector. Based on that, we felt comfortable. And when we had a discussion with NIRSAL, 2-3 weeks after that discussion, we went back with our own, what you can call motivation, in-house motivation. And we were able to convince all the key stakeholders internally that we need to put a product program in place for NIRSAL. And based on that product program, we put an amount that we are talking about now, which is 10 billion of the 50 billion that NIRSAL is looking for. We've put 10 billion in place because we believe that accessibility, right, of financing to the agri sector is one. Affordability is another. When you combine those two things, they make up maybe about 15% of the problems plaguing that sector. NIRSAL is able to do much more than just affordability and accessibility of financing because they've got the technical skills, they can monitor, they can get the inputs directly right to the farmers. And when somebody is willing and ready to de-risk that sector for you and is going to monitor 24/7, you should feel comfortable. So for us, we look at it as a natural partnership. We can provide the financing and NIRSAL will help us to de-risk. And if after everybody's efforts, because don't forget, we have also got a well-established, well-entrenched risk management framework. One of the things we did was to go back and check whether our risk acceptance criteria can be aligned to that of NIRSAL when it comes to checking, bankable agri projects. And we've been able to see that alignment. So in spite of all our efforts, if everything goes belly up, NIRSAL can underwrite that facility, that credit to the tune of 75%. So we believe there is a natural partnership for us.
That falls within what's your prudential guidelines, let me put it that way, or risk management profile is within the bank. But again, if you look at that sector, the number of issues, and some of our viewers are already watching this conversation and they're asking questions about the state of agric insurance. That's a different conversation, is it?
It's a different conversation. This is different. You understand? What we've got in NIRSAL is far better than just somebody just underwriting giving you an insurance. It's better because don't forget, on one hand, we are bankers. I mean, we cannot be at the floor, at the shop floor. We cannot be at the farm gate of every borrower in SME, in agri sector. But NIRSAL has what it takes, the foot soldiers, the technical support, the technical skills to be able to do that on our behalf. So the probability of that project failing is very low, right? Because don't forget, it's also in the interest of NIRSAL that the agri project should succeed. If not, the balance sheet of NIRSAL will be eroded. So for them, if you look at us as the provider of the funding, you look at the borrower, that's the second stakeholder, and you look at NIRSAL, that's the third stakeholder. The three of us, we have embedded interest, right, an alignment of vision and mission to make sure that it succeeds. So, and we are going to, that's why it's called risk sharing. I'm providing funds. NIRSAL is underwriting. The borrower is also being checked to make sure that he's able to produce and to produce profitably. Don't forget, if you have a borrower that does what is right and is able to service our loan, there is what is called the interest drawback. he gets it. And he can get it on a quarterly, on a monthly basis. When he does that, the cost of the funding that I've provided to him, because he has behaved very well, reduces. So you can see, there's collective...
It's an incentive, for good performance.
Yes.
That's very good. You need to reward performance. But before NIRSAL came on board, when you sit down as the managing director of a commercial bank, STanbic IBTC Bank, and you look at Nigeria's agriculture sector, have you been lending? If yes, towards your size, what were your experiences in lending in the agriculture sector?
Interesting. We've been lending, but I can tell you it's been tough. Right. Without NIRSAL, it's been tough. Right. As we speak, I mean, we've moved our portfolio, let's say agri sector. The share of our agri sector within our lending portfolio should have moved steadily from about 2-3% now. As we speak now, maybe at the end of August, it's moved almost to 5%. Right. So we are moving steadily. Even some of the plans commissioned by the vice president in Kaduna last week, the president Kaduna last week, I mean, we've been involved. Right. So we are doing that. So now that we've moved, to about 5% of our loan portfolio in terms of the share of agri sector, we believe NIRSAL coming on board with this 10 billion that we've put in place at the first instance, because it's just phase 1. We want to test it because you have to be able to test the model. You have to be able to test the hypothesis. With that 10 billion, the percentage of our agri portfolio is meant to move to something like maybe 7.5%. Right. So and that is but this one gives us more comfort than we lending directly to agri sector without the backup of NIRSAL.
You said it's been tough.
Yeah, it's been tough.
May I respectfully cut it? You said it's been tough. Yeah. How tough was it? Break that down for us. Give us some facts behind the figures here.
I don't want to mention names.
They're just facts.
I don't want to mention names. But do we have some loan portfolio that have been affected? It's significant. I mean, a small amount that have been affected by some of the whether you call it the embedded problems within that sector. The answer is yes.
Are they policies, or are they just money? Not enough?
Is a combination. I mean, something as simple as logistics, something as simple as transportation, something as simple as having produce, you couldn't get your produce to the market, something as simple as you couldn't get, input, a key input, something like fertilizer. If you get it before a particular time, or if you get it after a particular time, it's useless to you. So if your fertilizer does not get to you, right, at a point in time, if you get it, then you've already lost that season. So all those things are there. And you can look at it. It's not as if the man or the borrower had failed. Exigencies of the situation had made right. So the point is, those issues are there. With NIRSAL now, it changes the equation.